Hey everyone, it's Jasmine from Jazz Up the Plan, and I'm here to talk about journaling. Let's talk about it. All right, so we are going to talk basically about the who, what, why, and when of journaling and how to bring that into your life and basically get started. And so the first thing we're going to answer is the why. Need to know why. Why do you want to journal? Do you want to journal because you want to document your life? Do you want to journal because you need a space to be creative, or you need a space to vent? Do you want to journal because you just want to do it? Do you want to journal because you want to do some self-reflection, things like that? Do you want to do faith journaling or art journaling or whatever journaling you want to do? You need to know why you want to journal. And when I'm talking about journaling, I'm talking about writing pen to paper, but you can totally adapt some of this to digital, like a digital journal if you like. Okay, you need to know your why you want to journal. That is the number one important thing about getting into journaling. So figure that out. All right, and my why for journaling, just to give you guys some guidance, is two things. I started my why for journaling this year is because last year I couldn't remember anything good that happened, and that really bothered me around the holidays when we were all looking at our New Year's resolutions, and I couldn't think of anything good that happened in 2019. And I'm sure there were plenty moments among the mess that it was for me that were good. And so I really wanted to get back into journaling so that I could sort of retrain my mind, heart, and soul into looking for the good things in life. That does not mean that I only write about the good things in my journal, but it means that I have a good documentation of both. And I am also looking for good things throughout the day, because I don't want to only write the bad things at the end of the day. So that is my why for journaling. I would suggest that maybe you sit down with a piece of paper and just write down, your whys for why you want to journal, and start there. So next is when. When will you journal? After you know your why, you need to know when, and basically when you'll be able to find the time to incorporate this kind of practice, hobby, or activity, however you want to phrase it, into your either day-to-day life or weekly life. When do you want this to become a part of your schedule? And so you do not have to journal every single day, but for most people that's the goal. If you have a guideline on maybe if you want to journal daily, maybe weekly, monthly, however, and you set that schedule for yourself, whatever your goal is for your when and your why, it will become more consistent. So for example, I want to journal daily. That's very important to me. I noticed that if I miss journaling for a couple of days, nothing really gets done. I'm not productive because emotionally and mentally, I'm still kind of like in my head. I really need to journal to even get those good thoughts and good ideas onto paper and really free my mind to be open for more things to come into it. So that is why I make a schedule. So I journal at night, right before I go to bed, and it just helps me clear my mind. So just figure out your when, and it'll help you become more consistent in your journaling. The next thing to know is where. So that kind of goes hand in hand with the when, but having a space that is sort of dedicated for your journaling time is a pretty good way to become consistent. Somewhere you can sort of set the mood, maybe light a candle or just put on your headphones and have some quiet time, is a good place to invite yourself to journal more consistently. And so I usually journal at my desk or on my bed, and those are just two places where I know that no one will bother me while I'm in this creative space and this space of self-reflection and just, you know, my me time. And so those are the main places that I journal. Every once in a while I might journal on the couch, but my where is usually somewhere where there's no one else. So that is my suggestion for you to figure that out. So maybe find a place in your home that's super comfortable, or where you can close the door and maybe for a few minutes just, you know, tune out the extra noise so you can really focus on what you want to get out of your journaling. And now you need to know what you need. So you need a notebook. My top suggestions for getting into journaling is actually not a notebook, but a planner. And I know this may come as a shock, but a planner is a great place to start journaling because it's already dated, the sections are already even, and there's not a lot of space to fill. And unless you are journaling to really just get every single thing out, which is totally fine, then I would suggest maybe like a happy notes or just some kind of bound notebook. But if you are more focused on making this a practice and dedicating maybe like a few minutes a day, then I would suggest a planner. A planner is already dated and it has dedicated spaces where you can fill it in, and you can do it in a horizontal, a lined vertical, a regular vertical planner. And so that is my main suggestion for sort of like a newbie getting into journaling. You can also try a prompt journal, or the Happy Planner has guided journals, and those have prompts where you can answer questions, and it's just usually like one page to fill out every day, and it's actually undated, so there's a little bit less pressure because you can jump in and out of it whenever you'd like. So those are my two things that you need, but really all you need is a notebook, any kind of notebook. You also need a good pen. I would suggest you pick whatever pen is your favorite pen, not something that maybe you saw on the internet, but something that you really like to use. So if you like using ballpoint, use a ballpoint pen, but just something that you really like to write with because you're going to be using it a lot. And then finally, some bonus things that you might need are, you know, your regular craft supplies. So stickers, glue, tape, pictures, depending on what kind of journaling you're doing. Those are things that you can bring into your journaling to make it a little more interactive and creative and fun. I know that a lot of people will say that just focusing on pen and paper is the priority. And while that is true, I think that if you're someone who you've tried just writing pen and paper and you haven't kept it up, you might need to add in the fun things like stickers and art and things like that. And because it will also be a creative experience for you. And so it will be something else that you look forward to into journaling instead of maybe just looking at a page full of black and white words. So adding paints and stickers and tapes and things like that will give you a reason to look forward to journaling. So that is my suggestion. How to start. So how to start, and we kind of talked about this a little bit already, but how you can start is by using prompts. So prompts is probably the easiest way to start journaling, and depending on what your why is will depend on what kind of prompts you should be using. So for example, I started with gratitude journaling. So my prompts were focused on what I was grateful for, what I loved about myself, things that I was looking forward to, prompts like that. If maybe you're doing faith, you can use whichever scripture you follow. You can do something like that. If you're memory keeping, you can follow maybe a photo series kind of prompt, and you can find all these kinds of things on sites like Pinterest and Instagram, things like that. And also, simply put, you can buy a journal with prompts in it. Guided journals, like I said already, are journals that are basically full of prompts, and they can get a little repetitive, but it's a great way to get into journaling. Each week is switched up just enough that your mind won't get bored, but the months are pretty similar. And then you could also use quotes. If you have a ton of Happy Planner stickers, they are filled with different quotes and positive things to say, and you could always pick one of those quotes and reflect on those. So stick it at the top of your page and write about how that quote makes you feel, or how you'd want to incorporate that kind of feeling into your day-to-day life, something like that. Or a quote that you've seen on Instagram, things like that. So quotes, prompted journals, are a great way to get started into journaling. And then also, of course, just basic like diary writing, where you just write and vent about, how you're feeling or what happened in your day. I would suggest that if you want to go a little bit deeper, when you're doing a vent, or like, I think it's called like stream of mind kind of journaling, that you ask why you're feeling that way. So after you've got all of your thoughts out onto paper, you ask yourself maybe one question: why you're feeling that way, how you can either change, like how you can not feel that way again, how you can change your life so that you can, if you're writing about anger, maybe avoid these situations, or how you can find ways to cope through these situations. So go a little bit deeper and just ask yourself the hard questions in your journal. And lastly, I will ask you, will you share this on the internet? When I was looking into journaling, this wasn't a question I saw a lot. But the truth is that we are in the age of the internet, and we are on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and all of the social media. And to be honest, most of us really like sharing our creativity online. And journaling is something where the lines can get a little bit blurred, because you can get creative. For the most part, you're usually using your journal to self-reflect or get something off for your mind and into paper. And so I would suggest that if you are going to share this on the internet, which you totally do not have to, but I'm someone that does. And so what I've learned so far is that you can either do like shorthanded journaling, where people don't really know exactly what you mean, and you've gotten what you needed out of it, but when people read it, they won't know exactly what you're talking about. And so it's not like you're exposing yourself, or it's something too personal to share. You could obviously just blur out the words that you don't want to share, come up with maybe codes, or only use initials, things like that, if you're going to share your information on the internet. And I would also suggest that maybe if you're doing like, say, a daily journal or something and you're posting on the internet, maybe wait till like the day after or a few days after to share that kind of information, because you never know who's going to read your journal, and you don't want someone to invade your privacy. And so those are just my suggestions. If you have any more suggestions for people sharing their journals on the internet, totally leave them down in the comments below. But those are just a few things that I've learned. And also you can go into apps like Procreate and maybe rewrite a few lines if you don't feel comfortable with maybe sharing the information, but you also don't want to blur everything out. So those are just a few suggestions. Another piece of advice is that you don't need to finish your journal. I mean, I use a Happy Planner, so I could just like lift pages in and out and put them all into one notebook if I wanted to, but you don't need to have the pressure of finishing a journal. It's totally okay if you've gotten what you needed out of that journal and it's time to move on, especially if it's for a heavy topic, like maybe stress, or if you're journaling right now through COVID. Once COVID is over, you may not want those new memories in the same journal as your COVID journal. And so it's totally okay to either dedicate journals to specific areas of your life or simply end a journal once you've gotten the therapy, or however you want to put it, out of it. That's okay. No one's going to judge you because it's your journal. And finally, I will say is to just get started. The best way to get into journaling is to just get started. Write what you know and how you want to write. Don't get too caught up in the aesthetics or what you see other people online are doing, or even sharing your journal on the internet. Just get started. Maybe check out some challenges from people that you follow. I had a challenge a few weeks ago with Create with Usha, and it was just a 3-week challenge. You can check that out, or anyone else that you enjoy. Maybe even just, use what you have. Don't go out and buy a ton of craft supplies and notebooks and pens and because that will add on to the pressure of journaling, and you won't want to do it because you'll be so focused on the fact that you feel like you have to use these supplies that you won't be focused on the actual therapy and enjoyment of journaling. So use what you have. Use the resources that you have and just start. Just write whatever you want, but definitely figure out that why. When you figure out that why, everything else will come together, because you'll really want to get what you want out of journaling. I know that a lot of people, your why, you may think your why is just because you've seen someone's like cute journal on the internet and maybe you want to make one, but really think deeper into why you want to journal and why you want this to become a practice in your day-to-day or weekly life, and it will become a habit. I've been journaling since the beginning of this year again. I've journaled my whole life, but I've really become more consistent this year, and it's because it's important for me to document new memories and really focus on the good and positive in my life, as well as figure out who I am as a person. And that is what my journals and creative journaling does for me. You don't have to be a creative journaler. You can still write pen to paper, but just start. Okay? And just like I said, just start. I'm gonna just end this video because I could talk about journaling forever, and you guys could be sitting here watching this video instead of just jumping into your journaling, getting pen to paper. So yeah, I'll just end it there. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. And if you have any questions about journaling or you want me to share some more, please let me know, and I'm totally willing to do so. Check out my Instagram page, Jazz Up the Plan, and we can get into it. Thank you for watching. Bye.